Hello, and welcome back to the Pretty Little Podcast. We're your hosts.
My name is Phoebe.
And my name is Caroline, and today we will be recapping I'm a Good Girl, I Am, Season 5, Episode 24 of Pretty Little Liars, of the hit TV show Pretty Little Liars. Do you know...
The penultimate episode of season 5.
The penultimate episode. Phoebe, do you know... So obviously this title is... not a callback to Gossip Girl, but also it is. And it also is a call forward to us starting Gossip Girl next year. But there's an episode of Gossip Girl where Blair is having a dream and it opens on her. And I'm pretty sure it's like an Audrey Hepburn movie and it's black and white and she's like in court and it's like her against Serena. It might be around the time of the college admissions or something, and she is like on trial or something. She's like, no, I'm a good girl, I am. I'm a good girl, I am. And that's what she does. And it's like, you don't know what I'm talking about?
No. I remember there being black
okay,
and
it's
white
Eliza
things.
Doolittle. Whoops. Okay, bad musical theater person. It is from My Fair Lady, but it's Blair Waldorf saying it. Hang on. It's really like, actually, when I first saw it, I was like, cringe. I did not like Blair doing that. I thought it was very weird. I did not care for it. Well, all of her dreams are like different. It's not there. Gosh darn it all. I'll find it. But all of her dreams are like old movies.
So Blair.
Which is one of my favorite things about Blair. But yeah, so she has a thing where she like stands up and it's one of the ones where she does not look glamorous and beautiful. She's Eliza Doolittle. But yeah, so that's what we're doing here, which I guess is what Allie's saying. They're trying to say.
I think they're all saying it.
You know what? I think they're all saying it. Phoebe, can I tell you what I was saying this whole episode? I was saying, oh my fucking God. I said that out loud.
I gasped multiple times.
I know this is the penultimate, but I'm like, it makes complete and total sense. Here's what I think happened in the writer's room. Okay. In the writer's room, they're like, all right, guys, it's the end of an era. It's the end of Pretty Little Liars. Season 5, the girls are going to jail. Justice is served, and this is it. And then somebody crawls out from behind the boardroom table, and they say, I've got an idea. $1 million. $1 million worth it is my idea. And the person was like, oh, who is that? And everyone was like, let's hear him out. And so he gets on the table, and he stands up, and he goes, what if we do something absolutely fucking crazy no one will see coming? We had 2 more seasons. Lock them all up. Lock them all up. Call it the dollhouse. Ha ha. And they're like, well, this was like, we didn't get funding for the next 2 seasons. Like, this is the last episode ever. And they're like, trust me. And that's they're like, okay, let's go balls to the walls. So like fully, I believe this last episode, it has all the drama we would need for a finale. You know, I know it's not really, but like
finale.
Well, I'm really just saying for a season finale. I was just like making a joke, but I think that it would like, I'm like, it's so crazy that in my mind, it really is like, what could possibly be happening next? Like, this must be it.
How,
you
like,
know?
The girls have no idea that they're getting like they aren't picking up the fact
neither
that
did
they're
I.
getting arrested. And well, I guess I've seen it before, but
Yeah.
After Lieutenant Butterscotch's conversation with Toby, I was like, oh no,
I didn't.
They're gonna make a show of it. They're gonna make a show of it.
Oh my God, I didn't get that from that. I did not.
Guys, Lieutenant Butterscotch sucks. Remember a couple weeks ago when Caroline was like, she's kind of getting on my good side?
I was like, she's kind of serving. Yeah, just kidding. Hey, she's actually kind of swerving away from my good side onto my bad side.
She also doesn't have any sort of idea of what the geography of the state of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is.
Shout out Allegheny County. Allegheny County reference.
For literally no reason. I'm like, you didn't do, they didn't, other than Googling counties in Pennsylvania, not an ounce of research was put into where things are.
No, because I was
or
like,
how long it gets to.
For a moment, how long that state gets to. I was thinking for a moment, how big is Allegheny County? Because That's major. Didn't realize the county I'm in stretches quite so far. Yeah.
The other side of the state.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, guys, this is a fucking crazy episode. I literally was just like, I said, I had to pause like multiple times, like, oh my God.
I think the writers like got high before they wrote this episode and just like let
PLL Jamboree. Like, that's what I'm saying though. They were like, all right, guys, last episode, pull out everything. What do we got? Put everything insane that you thought was on the cutting room floor. We'll put it in.
I wonder if they thought they maybe they had already gotten the renewal for season 6. So they like planned out like half a season for season 6 the way they did for season 7 eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time season 5 was wrapping, they were like, okay, and also you get a season 7.
And they were like, oh, fuck.
Oh,
okay, well, we already filmed and edited up until episode 25. So I guess we could fit one more episode in for the season. We need to create a new storyline though. The girls just got to jail. We could do. And then that's when, again, the little bog monster crawled up and said, is this a good time for my idea? And they were like, okay, Gideon. His name was Gideon. Said,
right.
And he says,
oh, right.
who am I? Oh, no one. Gideon.
You're giving Rumpelstiltskin and the TV show that feels like a fever dream Once Upon a Time.
Thank you.
That's kind of his energy.
I like now, like, this isn't a video podcast and stop asking. But we do just occasionally do little tips of the hats to each other and we don't acknowledge it. All right. Well, I'm on the recap. So, and I was not about to not have it organized again, but it's a quick one. So here we go. You'll remember. And if you don't, show some freaking respect. Hannah Marin was wrongly arrested for Mona's murder because Mona's clothes were found with Hannah's blood on them. And we do know that A planted that blood. Arya has been getting tutored by smart Andrew, but he started acting weird. I feel like we know this, he's been trying to get in the clique from the very beginning. He's been acting weird about it from the very beginning. But now it's like, we're not just playing strip study with Spencer. We're inserting ourselves into the families, kissing Arya, saying we're lucky Mona didn't live long enough to run for president. So a little bit concerning from Andrew. Spencer and Toby hit a little rough patch since he decided to become a cop, and Lieutenant Butterscotch is not rooting for Spoby. Sorry, guys. And I'll just say it. Spencer and Caleb were working a little too close for comfort to, quote, help Hannah. Yeah, right. Help Hannah, help yourself. And miscellaneous things I should add as well. Allie, that's right. I just put you under the miscellaneous category. Read it and weep. She was offered a plea deal, didn't take it. She is now on trial, and her fate will be decided by a jury, and Kenneth De Laurentiis just learned about juries. Mona's redheaded friend, also, don't forget her, who looks like a cross between Sydney Sweeney and Syndrome from The Incredibles. She showed up a little while ago, and she was looking for Hannah and the rest of the girls to thank them, yeah, right, for being there for Mona when she wasn't. And I just want to say, hey, Sydney Syndrome, you also weren't there for her funeral, and now you're coming in here, and you're fake crying, and you're doing all this shit. Did I not say Syndrome?
No, I'm saying Syndrome.
Ah, that's good. Syndrome. But the N kind of Syndrome, there's something about that. Am I using my fingers to write in the air? Of course I am. That's why everyone wants a live show, because they want to see what we're doing with our hands while we're talking. Guys, our hands are constantly in motion. They're never moving. If you ever hear things...
We're like Heather Gay when Brittany says that she and her boyfriend are broken up.
Oh, yeah. And I forgot to say to you today, Phoebe, hey, you're my best friend. And do the heart like Brittany. I saw someone tweeted like just her going like this and was like, this is the most embarrassing thing the most embarrassed I've ever felt. It was just her doing that like at the table. It's so embarrassing. Anyway, that's the recap. Good job, Caroline.
I do think two things. One, I think it's crazy that Allie is fully on trial for murder and she landed herself in the miscellaneous category of Caroline's recap. Second,
Emily
of all,
wasn't even in it.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
She didn't have anything.
I also think that the actress who plays Syndrome is
good.
Oh, no, I didn't really notice her talent. I just think that she heard what we said about her being like Sydney Sweeney. She did not sound like Sydney Sweeney like she did the last time we saw her.
No, she didn't. I thought she gave a good little acting performance this up. I'm not going to lie.
Because you know how Sydney Sweeney does that? Like, she kind of mumbles.
Yeah, well, She talks like those. I can't.
And
do
that's
it.
how Leslie was talking. And now this episode, she's like enunciating.
Well, Leslie showed up with a new freaking attitude, and we're gonna get into that. But we open with
First we see-
WDLH News.
Purred Hapley.
Is that his name?
No, he's Purred from Parks and Recreation. And at first I
Oh.
was like, oh my God, we get this what? I can't believe we get a cameo like this in this episode.
And then you were like, whoa,
and then we get
double
another
whoa.
cameo.
Double whoa. Sarah Shepard. Double whoa for double S. Sarah Shepard also makes a cameo. What can't she do? She's a newscaster, and basically they are letting everybody know we have a surprise witness coming in to the Mona Vanderwall case with Allie D and the state of Pennsylvania.
I did like this line Sarah Shepard said. She said, looks like one of Allie's classmates knew that her abduction was Pulp Fiction.
Yes, I actually, guys, if you missed it, posted a clip of it to our story because I thought it was iconic.
So we go to court, and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania calls Leslie Stone to the stand. And I just want to say, this courtroom, I feel like, in the words of Caleb Rivers, is so ass backwards the way that everybody's operating. Leslie comes in from the back of the courtroom, which might be normal, but does feel strange. I feel like normally they have them like in the back behind where the judge would be.
There's something about this to me that I do think is normal, but I don't know that for sure. It is weird.
It just
to
feels casual. It feels dangerous and reckless.
Wow.
But and it gets worse later on. But Leslie goes and takes the stand, and
Are we gonna comment?
Aria goes,
yeah, okay.
Aria goes, where'd she come from? Why is it taking her so long to come back around? And Spencer says she's probably been crossing the river Styx. And
That's STYX, everyone.
I don't remember her being so mean that we thought she went back to the rivers of hell.
I thought the same thing. That's literally the like where you cross it from like death to life or something. That's like the river Styx.
It's like where the Grim Reaper takes you.
Yes. And Aria also gives Leslie the nastiest look. I'm like, thank God Leslie didn't make eye contact, because if she had, she would have melted.
Aria thinks that she is in like a confessional booth when she's in court.
Aria, this entire episode, thinks that she is like already in jail. She is acting in fucking sane. She's acting so selfish. Why are you trying to protect yourself so much when there are literally 2 other people behind bars who do not belong there?
And she's doing a really good job of throwing that into conversation just enough that her 2 friends are behind bars so that she doesn't look like she's entirely
oh my
selfish.
God. She's driving me up a freaking wall. So Leslie gets on the stand, and we find out Mona sent her a card, and the card had said that Mona was having a hard time and she had been threatened by Allie. And actually, I'll include a direct quote. There was a threat that Mona reported to Leslie. She said, Allie told her, if you open your trap about the fake kidnapping, you'll be eaten by worms. And Leslie says, it's all in the card.
I know, because
Allie,
I think
did you
Rebecca
really say that?
Probably. Rebecca goes hearsay, and Leslie, that's when Leslie goes, it's all in the card.
It's all in the card. It's all in the card. And she's like, well, the reason I didn't bring it yet is I just couldn't find it. I didn't take it seriously enough, and I wish I had. I just didn't realize what she was dealing with. Like, everybody has high school rivalries. I didn't think it would go like this.
Because this was sent 2 weeks before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So it was pretty predictive. And Aria truly, like, when she says that, when Leslie starts crying and is like, I didn't take it seriously enough, we pan to Aria.
She's like gagging.
She looks over at Emily and Spencer, and she's like,
yeah. Or like actually falls out of the chair. She falls out of the bench, and she's like, sorry, I was startled by her blatant lies and how ugly she looks. She doesn't look ugly, but Aria was thinking that, you guys. I didn't say that. Aria was thinking it. So then Leslie's like, well, I have to say, like, when I was here, all those little bitches, you guys know the ones, the ones that dress insane given the circumstances.
The whole courtroom is like, oh yeah, we know.
They all like turn their heads as spotlights go on the girls. Yeah. They're like, she was like, yeah, I mean, they were all on edge when I came to visit, and I was practically attacked by Mona's boyfriend because I tried to borrow a book. At which point I see this mangled ass hand grab Aria's. Smart Andrew, what are you doing here?
And also, I really don't believe you can just walk into a courtroom
Phoebe,
in the middle of a testimony.
I was just going to say that because I was like, okay, I know that I have OCD and I'm scared of shit, but I would have been pacing back and forth outside of the courtroom doors, being like, "It's now a good time. I don't know if I should. Like, the judge is gonna arrest me if I walk in at a rude time."
If I was scared to take out my book at the DMV, imagine how scared I would be trying to walk into a courtroom while an active testimony is taking place.
I feel so, but the thing is, we're scared of different things here, and this is how differently our brains work. Because what Phoebe's scared of is like actually just being embarrassed. I'm scared of being thrown into a cell with no key. There's no key on planet Earth. They made one of these cells. It has no windows. It's stone. It's completely stone. They said you can try clawing your way out with your fingernails. And before I went in, they chopped mine off.
This is like there's in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney. There's in the
just
line,
like that. That's where they lock me.
There's a cell. There's a cell in line. It's like an interactive line. And so we're in line with Ryan because Mrs. Silverman said that the wait wasn't like the wait sign said like 15 minutes. And so we went in thinking that wasn't that long and we had to wait. And Ryan is like really, really putting us to work in this line. And he's like acting, he's like doing all this stuff, he's pretending like he's hurt, he's not, he's doing getting attention from all these people.
He's like, you guys do this, you wait.
And then he literally like Dan, as a joke, like Ryan like goes into the cell and Dan like closes it, and then he opens it and like opens back up, and it's fine when Ryan, like, we get Ryan out. And then the people behind us in line do the same thing, and it like locks.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you imagine if it had locked Ryan in? Ryan would have loved it. Ryan would have smiled ear to ear, and he would have said, "He locked me in here," and he would have caused a scene and had you guys like kicked out of the park for fun. Ryan, we love you. You're the bomb. Okay, so back to this. Leslie couldn't find the note. Blah blah blah. Andrew comes in. Right as Leslie, and also, I'm sorry, I didn't really realize that Andrew and Aria were like fully Facebook official.
I'm saying. Super crazy. Also, Leslie says Hannah was especially like obsessed with Leslie.
I almost jumped into my iPad to beat her up in court. I almost did that.
Says that especially protective of the things in Mona's room and like was watching her like a watchdog.
Yeah, and Spencer's feeling like she's just looking. She's searching for a reason to talk to Caleb. And the second she hears Leslie say Hannah's name, she also falls out of the bench. And she's like, sorry, I just butt dialed Caleb by accident. And he's number one on my speed dial. I don't know what happened. I gotta go.
This is another thing where I'm like, can you also just leave?
You certainly can't make a phone call and like hurry out and like look back like, girl, hey, oh, sorry. Like, I'm sorry, Spencer, where is the courtroom etiquette? Come on, I know your dad also gave you an etiquette book for Christmas.
Where's the bailiff?
Hello, bring in the dancing lobsters. How about me as lobster lady? Little me as lobster lady. Because, I loved lobsters when I was like 1 or something. Mom and dad loved to be like, you loved lobsters and you hate them now. Why?
Is it? Maybe it was just that like mom and dad were buying you lobster themed things and you were in those things.
No, I liked eating them. There are like all these pictures of me in Boston as a baby, like going crazy eating lobster. Like I loved it apparently. And then as I grew up, I feel like lobster tastes a little bit too sweet to me.
I prefer crab.
Yeah, I do too. I don't love.
But I'm also just like
lobster,
never going to be that kind of girl who like sits down and wants to order the lobster.
No, that's not going to be me.
Like that.
You're so different. That's why we like you.
I'd rather just get like a burger.
Honestly, I'm so insane. I might just order a cheeseburger and fries. Oh my God. And Phoebe might get a beer, a Miller Lite even. So anyway, Spencer's talking to Caleb. She's like, Hannah just got tossed under another wheel of another bus. Come on, let's go. And that's when Toby walks up. Awkward.
Caught red-handed. This is the third red-handed
cheating. And I have to say also later on, Spencer says something about how like when Toby approaches her at this moment, they sort of, quote, danced around the fact that she's been in 2 other relationships. She's dated 2 other people since they didn't even break up. And Emily's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I also was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Too.
I forgot about Johnny for a second. And I was like, is she talking about Caleb? Oh
my God.
My God, because she was on the phone with him when Toby walked up.
No, but I still think that Spencer saying that she dated 2 other guys
It's insane.
is a little much.
Spencer, you wish. Come on. Why are you trying to be a super slut?
And
With your
that's her
skirt,
whole
with your little
thing.
schoolgirl outfit. I'm not gonna say.
Okay, but
I'm not gonna lie. She's
that-
eating. She looks so good.
That is the Spencer
It
Hastings
is one of the
outfit.
best. And for some reason, I see that picture all the time of her in this
All
outfit.
the time.
For some reason, I thought this outfit was from like season 1
I thought this outfit
because
was
it's
from like
so
season 7.
like. Oh, I feel like it's so like classic Spencer. I'm shocked we haven't seen it before. I love it. It looks great, but it is very short skirt.
But Toby is immediately like the police, which I guess is his whole thing now. But he's like, he looks at Spencer and he's like, so did they take a recess or why
Oh
the
my
fuck
God.
are you out here?
He's like, I didn't take you for a slacker. Spencer's like so pissed also because the first thing he says to her is like, what's going on with the trial? And she's like, yeah, no, I'm good. Thanks for asking. Like, what? My
She
friend,
starts
2 of my friends are
screaming
in
at him.
jail. Like, yeah.
She's like,
And
I
she,
thought you would call.
I mean, and she's right. I do have to say she's fucking
totally.
right. He's like,
She is
you
right.
haven't spoken to me. I thought like for sure the second Hannah ended up behind bars, you would call me. He's like, oh, well, your mom said you were in London. She's like, yeah, no, I was back. You could have tried.
And
You
now
didn't
I'm
even
here.
know I went to London. Doesn't that tell like,
And then he
what?
says, so how was Oxford? And she's like, get a load of this.
Spencer Hastings, again, I didn't think you were giving all the signs of needing crate time until this moment. And now I'm like, okay, yep, the time
Okay.
is nigh. Let's
and
go.
especially that scene in Rosewood High School when she
Oh,
when
when
Emily
she almost
basically
tackles
has a,
poor Kendra.
when Emily basically has a leash on
I mean,
Spencer.
Ella Montgomery later on is like, Aria, you're friends. And it's like she's lumping Emily in there. She doesn't need to. Emily, you're trying to keep a
Emily
leash
was
on a
trying to-
fucking dog that is rabid. Just let go. Okay,
Spencer
girl?
is the chain chomp.
Save yourself. Yeah. And Emily is the bolt
And when-
holding it into the ground.
When Spencer needs crate time, she's when the chain chomp is like detaches from its chain for like a couple minutes.
And then yes, exactly. Yeah. And then someone has to like shoot it down like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she kind of like tells him.
Toby says an insane thing after she's like, yeah, blood went everywhere and like followed me to London, whatever. And
She, like,
Toby's you
laughs
should have
about
called
it.
me. You should have called me is what
Oh,
Toby
what
said.
would you have done, Toby? What would you have done, Toby?
You said, Spencer, well, you shouldn't have gotten on that plane.
It's insane. And then Emily comes running down and she's like,
she basically falls down the stairs.
yeah, she's like, come on. And Spencer's like, what? What did Leslie say? And Emily says, I can't. There are barracudas with duller teeth, which is a great. Emily has some good lines as that
Wait,
too.
oh my God, I'm dying. This is what I heard.
Oh, great. Here we go.
There are barracudas with dollar teeth. And so I thought that she meant that there were a bunch of like reporters upstairs,
Yeah.
so she didn't want to talk.
I love how inventive you are and how creative your brain is. I also love that if Phoebe would have said the line first, guys, and I would have said, no.
That's not true because I
You don't even know what
thought
I'm
this
going
was
to say.
I know exactly what you're going to say. You're
What am
going
I
to say
gonna say?
if Phoebe had said the line first, then she would have been sure that she was right. But because I
Yes,
said it first,
exactly. It's what always happens.
but that's not. This would have been different because
But I'm
I know
always
that's-
right.
This because no, you're not. But with this
yes,
one,
like 97% of the
you're-
time.
you're infuriating. This line specifically, I knew was bizarre, and I really had to do some mental gymnastics to figure out what it could
And I'm going to
mean
give you a
because
tool you could use next time. Subtitles.
closed captions, and I put those on when Caleb said his line later because I was like, if I write this down wrong and I say it wrong in the episode, I'm going to be crucified by Caroline.
Yeah, but then I never get my final day because then I listen to the episode and I'm like, oh, right, I need to look that up. And then I forget. And I'm like, but I'm always right. And I just never have to come back and like rub it in your face. But I could. Just want to let you know I always could.
because I just let it go.
I'm always like, did she cut that out? Well, I listen back and it's like I obviously hear that you stitched new audio over it and it's using the right line.
What? I've
Yeah,
never
you
done that.
obviously edit your shit in post to make it right.
That is not true.
That's so true. Okay, moving
that
right
would
along.
be way too much work.
So Allie, wait, I thought this was creative. Okay, Allie and Hannah are both on different payphones in the jail, and then the other three
Oh my
girls
God, me
have
too.
2 speakerphones out, and the 3 of them are there, so that they're
I wrote
all
this is
able to
iconic.
talk. Conference call.
And Allie's also iconic in this scene because as soon as we get to her
Funny.
on the phone, she goes, who even is this girl? Did she even go to our school? She's immediately
Her
like,
line reads are
back into-
excellent.
it's we get like glimpses into Allie still being like a 16-year-old.
I mean,
girl.
literally, it's so funny when does she even go to our school? Because I've never even heard her name before today. And then someone's like, well, she's Mona's bestie. And she goes, yeah, bestie, who couldn't be bothered to show up to her funeral. Like, whatever. But Allie has
Hannah's
two good
tired.
references here. Hannah is tired. But I do have to reference these. Allie says, yeah, she brought that card that makes me look like Squeaky Fromme. Do you know who that is? It's
No.
a fun reference. Okay. She was a member of the Manson family, and she was not part of the official murders, but she was like in love with Charles Manson. So she tried to assassinate Gerald Ford, the president, for him. And she ended up in prison for life. And there's a musical called Assassins by Stephen Sondheim. It's one of the only ones I actually fucking like by him. Sorry. And
yeah, rest in peace.
Squeaky's in it.
I'm glad Caroline's so comfortable talking ill of the dead.
What is she? She has this song. It's like, I am the something to your love. Na, na, na. And it's all
So
about
that's-
Charles Manson.
I don't understand why Allie's saying she's that though.
Well, she's saying like try to make it look like I was like a killer. But Squeaky Fromme was also like this
Oh.
cute little girl, like who you kind of like
I
never
see, I
would have
see, I
imagined that she
see.
did that. Like this is her. Like she's just
and
like
that was like Manson's whole thing was getting girls that look like that to do with the unimaginable.
exactly. I can't. What is this?
But Aria is like, I think Leslie is one of A's pawns. Like she thinks that maybe Leslie was sent in to do A's dirty work. And Hannah doesn't think that because Hannah says,
Unworthy of your
no,
love.
she really cared about Mona. She really wants to see Allie fry.
I did think it like just Hannah.
And we see Allie in the back when Hannah says, and she'd love to see Allie fry. Allie like looks behind her and is like, okay,
yeah,
awesome.
she's so annoyed. And she says, well, Allie's like, okay, well, what happened with Varjak? Like, do we have anything? Because I need something. I'm about to get life in prison because Mona wanted to use her last Laurel and Hardy stamp, which is, it's like some comedic duo. But that's so fucking funny to think that Mona just wanted to use a stamp. So she sent this letter and now Allie's going to get life in prison. Like, just a very funny line. And Spencer
Also,
says
the
they
idea
tried
that
everything.
Allie, I mean, I know Mona died because she was wrapped in this puzzle, but it is also kind of funny that Allie's going to spend life in prison because Mona couldn't break away from this puzzle.
I mean, literally, because she's addicted to it. Yes, precisely.
So we get this flashback because Allie says that, and this is where I'm like, Allie, I mean, I know it ends up coming to fruition that it's true, but I'm like, come on, girl. This
I'm also
is
like,
nothing.
I'm like, okay, we get the flashback and we just get this
And
little
it's-
image of this jacket. I literally wrote piece of fabric at first because it was
Yes.
so unclear what it was. And Allie
Which is
does not
foreshadowing to
describe
later.
it. She doesn't describe what it looks like to the
Exactly.
girls. So later when Emily sees the jacket hanging out of someone's backpack, she's like, oh my God. I'm like, how the hell do you know that's the jacket? Like this
I
feels like a
wouldn't
reach.
have known it. But we get this flashback. Allie's at the playground on Thanksgiving and she calls Cyrus and is like, I've been
Where
here
the
for
hell
an
are
hour.
you?
Literally, that's
Her
her.
classic move.
And then she starts hearing the wind and she starts freaking out.
And
She
she
starts
sees
hearing
this
the wind like
jacket.
move things.
And like
And
she
she,
thought
like,
it was
but-
A.
Or I guess.
But she doesn't know. She's like, maybe. Who knows? Like, but it could be
she's-
somebody.
But I noted that Allie drives a Porsche SUV.
Okay, girl. In my Porsche with the quarterback.
So now the girls are like, why did you run away? Why didn't you like approach whoever you thought it was? And she's like, I thought it was A. And now she thinks it was someone else. And it's just like, this is nothing, but Emily loves nothing.
And then
And
the
she's
call
ready
gets
to
cut
go.
off. So
And
it's
then we go to
like
Montgomery
classic.
Mausoleum. And Aria also needs crate time because she's sitting, I think she's trying to give herself
Ooh.
crate time, but she can't. And she hears Mike like getting ready to leave to go to practice. And she shoots out of her chair, throws her door open, grabs Mike by the scruff of his neck, throws him in her room, and says, where the hell have you been?
she trashed you. so funny.
She totally trashed you.
And Mike is so mad now that like his name is, he's like, I'm going to be dragged into this and I'm like grieving my girlfriend. So he's fully prepared to go in and testify. And Aria is shutting that shit down. She says, absolutely not. You have to keep what you know to yourself. You need to have 3 answers. Yes, no, and I don't remember.
Mike says, he's like, why didn't you defend me? I need you to be in there defending me. And Aria in that moment was like, I can't do for you what I did for Jason last week. I can't stand up in the middle of this courtroom
do you know how exhausting that was for me? Do you know how emotionally taxing that was?
I got in trouble with the bailiff because apparently that's not allowed. Apparently it's not like a wedding.
And I don't really care about that. Like, I've always been one to color outside the lines. Like, I'm not afraid of that. And you know that. But it's just not a good time for us to be drawing attention. I didn't tell you, but you might have noticed something different about me ever since last year. My skin, yeah, it sparkles a little bit. That's because I have the skin of a killer, Mike. It's true. I killed somebody, Shauna Fring, and I watched her funeral at school. And someone knows I did. And I'm worried that this is all going to come out. So you can't say shit in court.
And Mike's like, bring it on.
Mike's
and
like,
Aria's,
I'm emancipating myself. Fuck this family. If I'm Mike, I'm like, I'm outie. Like, this is so annoying.
We go to jail, and Hannah and Allie are doing everything in their power to draw attention to themselves.
They are cracking me up. Rebecca, later on when she's like, I'm sorry, you can't even pass notes right. Like, that just tells me that Allie has not been in high school for very long because she has not figured out how to pass notes. Yeah.
Rebecca apparently was in Friends.
What?
Someone commented that on one of our posts.
Oh, she was?
Like,
she
was
looks really familiar.
Yeah. I'm not like a Friends girl.
I should just send her picture to Caitlin, and Caitlin will probably identify her within 30 seconds.
Perfect. So Allie's like doling out the clothes for people
Jumpsuits
in the jail. Okay, Caroline can't even humanize them. I just like to call them clothes. I just
didn't want anyone to think we were having a fashion show. It's like Allie's thing.
And Hannah is like being so slow trying to get these code words from Mona to Allie. And the security guard is like, girls, there are only 2 sizes. To which I say, good thing I'm never going to be in jail.
To which I say, what? To which I say, these conditions are inhumane.
Whatever happened to no cruel and unusual punishment?
What the hell? What are they?
Oh my God. And now
are the sizes?
Now I have to go into prison reform. Great. Now the podcast is over.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the penultimate episode that ended up to be the finale. That was foreshadowing in the beginning when I said that. That was foreshadowing. I need to open a window. I am sweating. It's freaking hot in here.
Oh my God. Right, because it's 80 million degrees in October, which is crazy. So, Allie gives Hannah a note back in her clothes that says, come back tomorrow at whatever time. And then we go to the Rosewood Police Department, and it's Toby and Lieutenant Tanner, LTB in my notes. And she goes, hey, King, I need you to go on a coffee run.
Sorry.
What?
Sorry, I thought I heard you just try to give her a new name.
Caroline basically just almost did like
I just did a dive.
Gymnastics jump across her chair. And
that's because I thought you tried to rename Lieutenant Butterscotch, and then I realized you said LTB, so I'm sorry.
Instead of a BLT, LTB.
Okay, well don't do that. Don't try to make it like creative, like your own thing. Like it's done, okay?
No, it's
you can
not.
give
It's
someone
just
else a
actually
name. Give someone else a name.
Abbreviation. It's just Lieutenant Butterscotch.
Oh my God. No, I know, but I know.
Anyway, Toby's all pissed.
He's all freaking
like,
pissed.
What do I gotta do around here to get a case?
He goes, what do I look like to you, an assistant? She's like, yeah. Can you go get the fucking coffee? So Mike comes home. All right. Something
by the way,
need to say.
It becomes clear that Lieutenant Butterscotch knows that Toby let his girlfriend go the night of the gallery theft, which, by the way, Spencer, can I remind you that I know you're so pissed at Toby for being on your back, but you would be in jail already. I know you're going to be in jail by the end of the episode, but you would already be there.
Like, Spencer, your boyfriend caught you, 1, breaking the law and he's a cop, and 2, cheating. and he didn't arrest, he let you go. So I think you gotta just take the L on this one. You just gotta like pretend that night didn't happen, girly, if you want to stay in this relationship.
Toby goes, is this about the night at the gallery? And I'm like, Toby, if I'm you, I'm never bringing it up again.
Never bringing it up.
She goes, why would it be about the night at the gallery?
Yeah, why?
You made an arrest.
You did a good job,
like,
right?
He's like, right. Perfect.
Woof.
Anyway,
so Mike,
let me go to Arya's.
I have a qualm with this. Mike comes home with a package. Arya's working on the yearbook staff now because her mom thinks it will distract her from the trial, whatever.
Wait, I do want to say, Arya, are you doing the yearbook because your mom told you to, or because of that little woe is me party you had a couple weeks ago?
What?
When she was just looking, her woe is me party, her pity party she had for herself, looking through the yearbook and listening to sad music.
Oh, well, yeah, no wonder she needs a quote. She realized she had nothing
wonder she needs
at
an
all
extracurricular.
last time. Yeah. True. Well, Mike comes in with this package though, and Arya's like, "Oh, can you give me the keys?" And like starts opening it.
Wait, she says, she goes, "Hand me your keys, would you?"
Sorry for butchering that line.
Why would she say that?
I don't know, Phoebe, because she needed the keys, because she needed them, and she talks like she's in an old-timey movie.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, sorry. She opens a package. Don't be annoyed with me. If I don't say this thing, I have to get it out of my mouth. And I've now been trying for 5 minutes. Okay, so just let me say it. I just think it's weird. We're still opening packages like it's not going to be something insane.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You get a massive package. You're like, oh, hand me the keys like this. You're going to open it in the living room? I'm going either upstairs or I'm going into a room with plastic on the floor in case. And that's what you should have done, bitch. That's what you should have done.
Because she opens it and she takes out like this thing of papers, and then there's this other thing, and Mike says, "What is that smell?" To which I say, that's Arya's cue to go, oh, let me take this up to my room.
This is not a living room activity. Oh, okay.
No,
yeah.
instead she's like, wait, that's so weird that would smell.
That would smell weird. And then he pulls a knife out of the box that has attached to the end of the knife a gigantic, massive fucking tongue. And Arya says, this gift was for you. Next time it's going to be your tongue on the porch. And then Ella walks in and Arya immediately deflects and like distracts. But like, don't you wish we had a more attentive parent here? Don't you wish, like, Arya is really good at like, well, you know, good as in quotes, but she's good at pretending like this shit isn't happening. Mike,
kind of.
His poker face probably isn't quite as good yet. And so I feel like, Ella, if you were attentive, if you paid more attention to your daughter than fucking Kendra, I think that you would be like, what's going on with Mike? Okay, Mike's going to go eat. I'm going to go in there and like try and figure out what's going on and crack this kid.
Exactly.
Like, what the hell?
No. We go to the brew and Arya's back on the Ezra train because Ezra has something she needs. His cabin. And she is telling him all about the tongue and is like, Ezra says, you need to take that tongue to the police right now. And she goes, Hannah already made that mistake. And now she's behind bars. Fuck off, Arya. It's number one, it's you, Emily, and Spencer's fault that it had to be a mistake. And Caleb, I'll throw him in there too. Because nobody thought to save their messages or have a hard drive.
I know. And then Caleb finally starts thinking about preserving evidence and it gets thrown in his fucking face, dude. I can't. But I have to say, with this Arya Ezra thing, did you notice what she's wearing? This insane outfit she's wearing?
It says Trace
chic. She's wearing a a neon pink short sleeve shirt that says Trace chic and like big block letters, and then she has on a black skater skirt that's pulled up, and then she has on this white and gold chain choker necklace, and her hair is all done.
This in 5th grade.
Yeah, she's like totally done up, and I also am thinking to myself, imagine like just getting dressed in the morning, putting together these insane outfits with everything going on in your life. And that's it. How do you, be fucking for real. You woke up this morning and you're like, I got a cow's tongue sent to me last night and my brother's roped into this and my best friends are in jail, but I look freaking cute today. Like, what the hell are you doing putting together these outfits?
Imagine, you know? Like doing the clasp on your necklace as this is all happening, or putting mascara on, like doing these things that are like monotonous parts of getting dressed.
They're doing them every day.
Like, yeah, like Spencer puts on her pleated fucking skirt
Yes.
Honestly, but this outfit I believe was an easy one for Spencer
Me
to pick
too.
out because
She's
it's
probably like,
just-
this is one of my old uniforms. That's why I was too short. She's like, I don't have time to put together an outfit. I haven't done laundry in weeks. I'll wear this.
I haven't really noticed in the picture that always comes up when you Google Spencer Hastings outfits. I didn't notice how short the skirt was. It
Me
looks
neither.
like uncomfortably
When
short
she
for
bends
her.
over to look into like the pipe, I was like, girlie,
I'm like,
I hope
girl.
no one is behind you. Are you not freezing? Do you not feel a
Because
bit
you
of a
know
chill
what?
back there?
So you're apparently Allegheny County is very close to where you are, and if Allegheny is close to where you are, that means that Georgia Connell is somewhere behind you saying, and that is just not a good look.
And that is just not a good look. And maybe is that the look? I'm asking because I don't know. Okay, so Arya wants Ezra to talk to Mike and help him get out of town to go to the cabin. I do think it's insane that like Arya's parents, like everyone's just like, oh yeah, like that's fine. Like I just think it's crazy. And he doesn't answer right away, and she's like, okay, forget it, never mind. And he says, don't read silence as a no, I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. To which she responds, you and Mike or you and me? And Ezra makes a face that I also made, which is like, what? Like, what are you talking about? You sound insane right now. Of course him and Mike.
Arya, this had literally
Nothing
almost
to
zero
do with
with you.
He's like, yeah, I'll pick him up at 4. He doesn't even like entertain that. He's like, I'm not, okay, I'll be there at 4. So that is
because
happening.
they broke up, and he looked at his birth certificate and was like, wait,
yeah.
what?
Wait, what? So here is where we
They
get
go
the
to the
scene we just
playground.
talked about with Spencer and Emily.
And Allie and Hannah don't know that Emily and Spencer are there. And this is just like, and by the end of the episode, this was confirmed for me. But this was just like, we needed a storyline for Troyan and Shay.
This whole like youth group thing was kind of unnecessary except for that identifiable patch. But I feel like,
But then by the time we get to the resolution of that, it like doesn't come to anything.
Yeah.
Because they don't even use her.
Is there any chance? Okay, so I'm jumping around a little bit, but while they're here at the tubes, someone comes up and asks if he can help them. And they say they want to talk to someone who might have spent a lot of time here. And he says that his church bought the lot. They're here all the time, whatever. And that they're doing a homeless supper and they need volunteers. Emily looks repulsed by this idea. She's like,
I was like, whoa.
Like it's kind of an insane reaction. But that's how they figure out this youth group is here. And I guess they see that they're all wearing these shirts with like this symbol on them to show that they're part of the church. So later when we're in the hall and we were talking about how Spencer like almost tackles Kendra because they see the jacket hanging out of her backpack. She's also wearing a jean jacket that has the symbol
on the back.
I know. So I'm saying, but we were just talking about how like they did not see that jacket they never saw it. So how would they know that was a jacket? So I'm wondering if that was just for us and like they actually just saw the symbol
maybe, yeah.
and that's why.
But we do
went.
get like such a close-up shot
Of the jacket.
the shawl specifically, and that's when Spencer jumps out of her skin.
I know,
and,
but then they're like, oh, we saw the
bolts
thing
for
on your
her?
jacket we saw, like, so we know you're there.
Yeah.
So I don't
also wonder
know.
if maybe the flashback is like, while we were watching the flashback, Allie was describing
Would have been nice to know
the shawl to
because
them.
we did hear her talking the whole time.
So yeah, all that happens at the playground. There's zero help, essentially. We go to the yearbook, and Arya's talking to this girl, and she is trying to use this, I guess, as a way to prove that she's a good writer, because she says, actually, only 26 words are allowed on these, and if you need help editing, I can. And the girl tears the clipboard from Arya's hands and starts like crossing out all this stuff on her page, hands it back to Arya, and like rolls her eyes. I'm like, okay, wait, maybe it's not an Arya thing. It's a Rosewood-wide epidemic that these are the rudest people in the world.
No. I think it is an Arya thing. I think everyone at this fucking school hates Arya. And they walk up and they're like, God, shut the fuck up. Okay. Like they just can't stand her.
We know you
because
dated
it's
the
also
English teacher.
It's so funny that she's like, if you need any editing suggestions, like shut the hell up. You're barely in school, Arya. And then Andrew, smart Andrew, comes and scares the shit out of Arya.
He like the way he comes into the back of the frame gave me such creeps, because he like
it's like
he,
Randall
goes to the
from
side
Monsters Inc.
and pushes himself up onto the desk, and he's got these doe eyes that you know that he's doing, and he thinks he looks like so innocent and sweet, and he's like this like nice guy.
And he doesn't say this,
not.
but he might as well say like, hey, you. Like it gives that, like the kind of person to say
Yes.
that, which we hate, of course.
We hate.
But Arya never called him back. She says she was like dealing with some family stuff. And he's like,
He
oh,
goes,
like,
she says, you scared me. And he goes, you never called me back. What happened to hello?
and actually, hey, Andrew, that scared me more. That your immediate response to me saying hi was, and that you scared me was like you.
Don't worry, guys. Andrew's allowed not to answer the phone whenever the fuck he wants.
No, he's allowed.
When he's doing some archery practice.
Ooh. So she reveals that Ezra, she's like, oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I like ended up asking Ezra if he would take Mike up to the cabin. And smart Andrew's like, why the fuck did you ask Ezra that? Like, I can bond with him too. Oh, great. Ezra's got mom and pop on his side too, huh? He's like so jealous. And Arya's like, okay, enough. Like, stop it. And I just want to say, Arya, girl, if you didn't like attention so much, you could have nipped this in the butt. You didn't have to let him think you guys are like he's supposed to be embedded in your family. Yeah. Like, you could have stopped this from happening. You don't even like the guy. Or so I thought, because then I was like, he's coming on a little strong. And then they fully kiss on the mouth and she initiates it right in front of someone waiting in line. Imagine, and someone waiting in line. Arya's ignoring all the people in line. Her mom's like, Arya, and there's this person staring, like glaring at her, like, hello, I have somewhere to be. Arya looks at him, goes back to Andrew, and is like, I'm sorry, I'll be better, okay. And then gives him like a slow kiss on the mouth before turning to the person who's still right in front of her, less than 2 feet away. Like, that might as well have been like a 3-way kiss, is how close you guys were. That was fucking weird, Arya.
Andrew is creeping me out so much.
Yes.
And when he has a line where like she's like, well, Mike like really bonded with Ezra after Mona died, and he goes, I could bond with Mike. You don't need a teaching degree to do that.
He's like, I killed Mona. Okay, I should be the one bonding with Mike. I'm just pretty sure Andrew did it at this point. I actually think Leslie and Andrew did it together.
Oh wow, I want to hear more about that.
That's like where I am right now. Okay, y'all are always asking us for travel recommendations, especially for our favorite city, Charleston, South Carolina, and we found the perfect place for all road warriors to stay. The Fulton Lane Inn is a peaceful, tranquil retreat located in the heart of downtown Charleston. The inn features the natural beauty, warm hospitality, and cozy comforts of the Lowcountry, all just steps from the energy and excitement of King Street. Whether you're exploring the city's historical landmarks, enjoying Southern eats and drinks, or dancing the night away, Fulton Lane Inn offers a perfect blend of serenity and convenience. I was lucky enough to stay there during my most recent trip to Charleston, and honestly, I cannot wait to go back. They host an evening wine and cheese reception at their sister property next door. They offer evening sherry, breakfast delivered to your bedroom, a 24-hour concierge, and our room even had a working fireplace, which set the perfect mood for my cozy evening PLL rewatch. You've heard us talk about Southern hospitality, road warriors, but if you want to truly experience it for yourself, Fulton Lane Inn is the place to stay. Book your stay today at fultonlaneinn.com and be sure to let them know the Pretty Little Podcast sent you. Again, that's fultonlaneinn.com, where Charleston feels like home. Mochi Health. Phoebe, have you ever had a doctor who just didn't listen to you?
Who hasn't?
Good question. Well, Mochi Health understands that weight loss can be a frustrating and seemingly impossible journey, and they're not just listening, they're taking action.
They're taking a holistic approach to weight loss that includes visits with board-certified doctors, nutrition consultations, and science-backed medications delivered right to your front door.
With Mochi, their dietitians work hand in hand with your medication to create personalized nutrition plans that fit your lifestyle.
Mochi Health is making it easier to make sustainable changes and achieve real weight loss results with science-backed, FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, support from real doctors, and guidance from registered dietitians.
And the best part is that it's affordable and accessible regardless of your insurance coverage.
Well, actually, the best part is that Road Warriors can use the code PRETTYLITTLEPODCAST for $40 off.
Oh my God, you are so right. So get started at joinmochi.com and use code PRETTYLITTLEPODCAST for $40 off.
And in case you missed it, that's joinmochi.com and use code PRETTYLITTLEPODCAST for $40 off. Hormone Harmony. Yes, Road Warriors. The rumors are true. Sometimes when I hop on to record the pod, I am a little cranky, and that's thanks to PMS. Obviously, talking with Caroline cheers me up, but sometimes even that's not enough.
Well, Phoebe, it's a lot easier to manage PMS with Hormone Harmony, along with so many other things. And I love that it supports cortisol levels and helps balance my mood swings. Yes, I also sometimes experience those. And obviously, I benefit from the improved sleep quality.
Hormone Harmony contains science-backed herbal extracts called adaptogens, and they're amazing because they literally help the body adapt to any stressors, which makes sense because Happy Mammoth, the company that created Hormone Harmony, is dedicated to making women's lives easier because women's stories matter. It has 0 sugar, it's gluten-free, dairy-free, non-GMO, and third-party tested.
And Phoebe, did you know a bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds?
Actually, I did know that, and I'm pretty sure I'm the one who told you.
Anyway, for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code PrettyLittlePodcast at checkout.
That's happymammoth.com and use the code PrettyLittlePodcast for 15% off today. So then we go to the jail and Caleb is visiting and Hannah is like really beaten down.
Phoebe,
like,
this
really
was
beaten down.
a hard watch. My heart was aching.
I'll let you take it away. You
Okay,
go for
fine. So Caleb's talking to Hannah and he's just like, listen, this all seems pretty convenient. Like, she's making you and your friends look like a coven of witches, which I think is hilarious. I'd be like, okay, sick. Thanks. And she's like, okay, no, I know. Like, Hannah is just having such a hard time. All she wants is to just spend time with her boyfriend. She tells him, like, I only get 30 minutes with you a week. I don't want to spend 28 of them talking about this. To which Caleb responds, let's talk about Mike. And it's like, okay, and you heard nothing. Got it.
Literally.
But it's sad because it's like, you see just how bad Caleb wants to help Hannah. He's like, I can't do nothing. I have to help you. And she's like, this is what would help me, is you just fucking talking to me and distracting me from my life. Like, that's what would help me. And she says she wants to leave Mike out of it. And this is what killed me. He's like, why? And she goes, because he's a kid.
Oh,
dude, so
it's
are
like, Hannah,
you?
you're a kid. And then I don't know if this was intentional, but after she says he's a kid for the second time, the cut between when she says that he's a kid for the last time, we go to the high school where we see like these two extras like running around the hallways like laughing, and it's like, whoa.
I know, it's so sad.
Hannah's in prison.
And right under that I wrote, Spencer should be dress coded. Hannah's in prison and Spencer needs to be dress coded. Okay, hello, reality check. Reality check. Two sides of the same two sides of the same coin. Is what I was trying to say, but then I started saying two sides of a different coin. But I was like, Caroline, what are you saying? And then So anyway,
we're gonna
they
start making that saying
Kendra
happen,
now,
which is a way of saying like two different things. That is two sides of two different coins.
That is two sides of a different coin. I don't know what coin, but a different one. Not this
like
one.
A quarter and a
different
penny.
one. Yeah. So Spencer, they see the jacket or the emblem. Who knows?
This was so funny.
It is. So you go ahead.
Spencer sees it and may as well. She's like a kid seeing Santa in the mall for the first time.
I feel like Emily grabs her midair.
Screams.
Yeah.
She jumps in the air.
Yeah.
She gasps.
Emily's
loudly.
like, your skirt is too short for you to be running this fast, Spencer. You look
Emily's been
like
like trying to tell her that all day. She's like,
yeah.
Sir.
And Spencer's always a little bit too far away, too out of reach because she's running so fast. She just like just missed it. She can't hear it.
And Emily's like, Spencer, stop. Let me handle this. You can just be a little bit too aggressive sometimes.
Spencer's like, I am an Aries. Thank you so much. So Emily approaches Kendra and she's like, hey, are you part of the youth group? And Kendra starts acting crazy, like super flighty. She doesn't want to talk to these girls, whatever. And
like
then,
too crazy. If you didn't want people to know Kendra, come on.
I know. And then Ella Montgomery walks into the hall and Kendra goes, I told you not to tell your daughter. Like, I can't believe you. She told her fucking friends. And I'm like, okay, now it's the second person at school who fucking hates Aria. We are getting a picture painted here, people.
Wait, that's so funny. I knew she would tell her friends.
Yeah. Completely. And then
that girl can keep a secret for the life of her. We literally all knew she was dating her English teacher.
Yes. She like wouldn't shut up about it.
And then she acted weird when we would bring it up.
Yes. Later on, Ella is standing in Aria's room and she's like, so she's actually acting as creepy as she ever has. Like, she's like, so have you heard from Mike? Mm-hmm. And Aria's like, I'm just looking for a quote for the yearbook. And she's like, well, You've had an eventful few years. Sure, it's easy to think something. And then she goes, Emily and Spencer had no right to corner that girl.
She does suggest that Arya uses a Hamlet quote for her quote.
I'm like, for which character? Ophelia or Hamlet?
And then Arya says, more like Frankenstein, to which I say, no, Hamlet seems about right for you, Arya.
I mean, but if my mom was suggesting that I use a quote from Hamlet, where the whole thing is like Hamlet goes fucking insane and Ophelia kills herself. So like, which one, Mom?
Our high school was so weird about the like typical high school traditions that it didn't pick to do. Like we didn't have, and I'm glad we didn't have quotes because I feel like that would be mortifying like 10 years down the line.
I would love to see what everyone would have picked. That would have been so entertaining.
It would have been. But like there were just like little things like that our high school didn't do. Like the rest of the
What would
schools
your
in
quote
America.
have been, do you think?
I don't know, probably something so insufferable.
Mine would have been
be nice.
Pop 6. Yeah, that is what yours would have been. Mine would have been Pop 6, Squish, Cicero, Lipschitz. He had it coming. That's what mine would be, and it wouldn't be embarrassing. It actually wouldn't be embarrassing because anyone who's anyone would know. They'd be like, oh, and this is a callback to her famous cabaret performance where she did Cell Block Tango and almost got suspended. I didn't, but they were like, Caroline, you're too slutty. And I was like, thank you.
There were 3 ways to get suspended at Mount Lebanon High School. 1, grind at a dance. 2,
show up in costume and don't tell anyone who you are.
Called on you.
3, do the Cell Block Tango at the Mount Lebanon High School cabaret. Good luck, people.
It was either really easy to get suspended or incredibly difficult
incredibly
to get
hard. And the hard one there, you guys, is obviously the 7-minute Broadway number, Cell Block Tango. Good luck getting it past the faculty again. Good luck. I ruined it for you.
You should have one of your students do that.
Well, my students are now all auditioning for cabaret next week. And so we are working on cabaret right now.
Oh my goodness. So, Caroline, why don't you talk about what Ella says to Arya?
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. So Ella's like, Emily and Spencer had no right to corner that girl. And Arya screams at her mom. Arya is like literally, she goes, well, you won't tell me what she did. She's so fucking mad. She says, well, how was I supposed to find out, Mom? They had to ask her. You won't tell me. And Ella's like, okay, fine. Just immediately tells her. I'm like, okay. So Kendra was right.
It was crazy.
So Kendra was 1000% right. Ella's like, she went to a party. This is the weirdest story too. Ella goes, Kendra went to a party the night before Thanksgiving. She experimented with a drug that was cut with speed and had a bad reaction.
I'm not making fun of you, but before you
How could you?
When you breathed in to do that, you went you breathed in and looked at the microphone, and I've never seen your eyes so crossed.
You're so mean.
And you don't normally cross your eyes. It was jarring.
I'll do it if I want to. And by the way, Mom thinks Kristen and Belle is cross-eyed, so that's actually a good look. Thanks. It's actually a gorgeous look. Thank you. So then
I do need to have a talk with Mom about that.
You do. Thank you.
Because we still haven't talked about it.
But I need to finish the story. She experimented with a drug that was cut with speed and had a bad reaction. So she hid out at the playground until she was sober enough to come home and pass the Cranberries. No, not the band, not the musical group. Her family, I guess. I guess her name's Kendra Cranberry.
No, like pass the Cranberries at dinner. Guys, every 100 episodes of the Pretty Little Podcast, I have a moment like that. I have a moment like that where Caroline gets to feel like Spicoli for once.
Oh my God, that is so funny. I literally thought about that for a long time.
You go.
Not the music.
Guys, yeah. Not like the band. I guess that's her last name.
I was like insane that her name is Kendra Cranberry. That's a crazy name. That sounds like a Riverdale name, not a Pretty Little Liars name. It does.
While they were Googling townships and counties in Pennsylvania, they came across Cranberry and got inspired.
Yeah, literally. Wait, and
I always was like, isn't it crazy we have a cranberry and a plum?
Yeah, no, so true.
And a moon and a Mars.
Okay, that is true. None of those, I mean, some of those things aren't related, but yeah.
Well, moon and Mars and plum and
Yes.
cranberry.
No, I thought you were insinuating that all 4 are fruits or planets. I was like, I don't know
Well,
which one she thinks they are, but
they're all
who's to say, you guys? If Phoebe
spherical.
thinks they're all, oh, there you go. You're good at categories. There you go on the New York Times Games app. Haha. So then Ella says, "You'd be surprised." Ari goes, "Why would she tell you that?" And Ella goes, "You'd be surprised what students confide to their favorite teachers. Or maybe you wouldn't."
And Aria doesn't react.
At all. She goes, anyway. She just moves right on.
Aria, you were just read for filth. Aria, you were just read for absolute filth.
It's so
by your
fucking
mother.
funny. The look she does too. I literally paused, rewound, filmed it, sent it to Phoebe because my jaw dropped. And that's not even like
so
the craziest
funny.
thing that is going to happen, you guys.
No. And so, basically she's like, Kendra was a good kid. She made a mistake. I don't want her to like have to. She mentioned seeing Allie, so none of it even matters.
She's
and
like, I don't know
Aria
why you
said,
believe
"Look, Mom."
Allie so much.
She goes, "Look, Mom, Kendra's not the only good kid who made a mistake."
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess that's true.
But that is where Ella's
But
like, okay,
also-
but why do you believe anything Ellie's? I mean, I do get Ella's point. I'm like, if I'm Ella, I'm like, yeah, and Allie made mistakes that now she has to pay for in a different way because they involve taking someone's life. Like, that's what Ella thinks. So we have
And that's
to
what all the
remember
pa-
that,
and I do
Aria.
think the kids forget that
They
the
do.
parents all are like, no, I could see Allie doing that.
100%. They forget that like they haven't clued their parents in really. So Mike and Ezra get to the cabin, and
Jump scare.
Caleb.
This scared me. This is
Caleb's
the
just
first
like-
jump scare of the episode.
Yes, not the last. Well, smart Andrew. Don't forget that. That might have been the first
second.
one. This is the second. Caleb's just sitting in there, and Ezra's like, "What are you doing here?" And Caleb says, "I'm here for a reality check. Your sister's very scared, and she gave you bad advice." To Mike,
He goes, I thought you'd get freaked if the lights were on. So he's just been sitting there in the dark.
so I don't get freaked in the dark. I'm not scared of the dark. I was homeless when I was 7. Yeah, I was making $11 stretch for an entire week. Yeah, Z.
Which, by
So
the way,
no,
guys, is
I don't
exactly
get scared
where
of
he
a little
goes with
dark.
this.
Exactly where he goes with that. Yeah. Me, on the other hand, I'm saving my haunted house story for Tuesday, or my scary ghost tour story for Tuesday for once I've like had the full experience, lived it. But just so you guys know, I did get asked to substitute tour, host some walking ghost tours in Pittsburgh this weekend that include going into like abandoned buildings where there's no electricity or heat and it's self-illuminated, and there are videos of like crazy things happening, and apparently, quote, people crap themselves, and I'll be leading it. I think I might add in to the beginning of the tour for a little levity. I might say, and you guys actually are really lucky you have a really special experience today because you actually get to host. Can I finish what I'm saying? You always do this when I'm in the middle of the joke and it kills the joke, but what?
Okay, tell the joke.
No, now it's killed. What?
Well, I thought that this was. Do you remember that ghost tour we went on in Boston where the tour guides were
Oh, yeah.
acting?
No, it's not like
I thought
that.
you were gonna like be in character this whole. I thought you were gonna be like playing a ghost.
No, it's just me. I'm leading the tour. I am the tour guide. I'm showing up in normal ass clothes.
I thought you were acting. That's why I thought you were asked. This gets weirder. How did your name get thrown in this
Chloe was
hat?
like, how the fuck do you find yourself in these situations? And I was like, I don't know, but I was like, I'm not going to say no. This is such a good story for the pod.
This isn't a Lana storyline on Broad City. This isn't a Lana storyline.
No, and that must be why people famously made those connections. I don't always see it, but then something like this happens. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I just like woke up to a message on Facebook that was like, hey, Caroline, like got this thing. Could you? And I was like, well, famously, I am the worst at being scared. I act crazy.
Yeah,
but
in case you guys forgot, there was this one time where she did a haunted house and almost walked out of there with a restraining
in
order.
handcuffs. Yeah, but sure, I'll lead 2 sold out ghost tours this weekend. They're
Sold out. They weren't
Sold
sold
out.
out before Caroline's name was attached to them.
I wish. I honestly was like, it would be so funny if I could share the link on our podcast thing. And if any Road Warriors came, like I would actually feel so much better. I'd feel so much safer, but they're sold out. So I can't. Anthony can come for free, which is like, thank God they're letting him sneak in. But I'm going to have a binder. I don't have to memorize it, but it will be me speaking and leading people. You know where I did Hairspray?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the buildings, that library.
Can
and
Anthony live stream it?
Shut up. I have to walk up this like big ass hill with everyone to the haunted library where like books fly out of the stacks. Then there's one place we're going to like the 3rd and 4th floor of this old building where she said they've been abandoned for 90 years and are in a beautiful state of decay. And they both have like old pianos and there's no electricity, no heat. Everyone will have to like use their phones for light. And she says people freak the hell out. She said we'll be ending in a small cemetery where the couple that lives next door, they're really into historical LARPing. And she asked me if I knew what LARPing was. And unfortunately, I did have to say, yes, I do know what LARPing is. Live action role playing. Yeah. And she said they let this couple know they were going to be coming through with ghost tours so they wouldn't be like scared of the flashlights and stuff. And they were like, oh, well, we do historical LARPing. Do you want us to dress up? And she was like, no, like, that's fine. And then like they were doing a tour and this couple is just standing in the window of their apartment in their historical garb, like to freak people out. She said people were like crapping themselves. She used the word crapping. So.
And that is so Pittsburgh.
I'm doing it Friday and Saturday night. And I mean, literally like.
Well, you get to do the tour tonight, don't you?
No, I'm going tomorrow and it'll be like a daylight time. So I'm not like it's me and the girl.
Because
Yes,
I think if she brought you through tonight, she'd be like, oh, is
I
this
honestly,
a good idea?
well, I am like, if I'm in charge, like I think it's the kind of thing when like, you know, when you're babysitting and it's like when the ceiling caves in and you think you heard a noise and you're like, okay, I have to be brave because I'm in charge. I'm the oldest sister. So you're like, Phoebe, are you okay? Okay, let's go check it out. You first. Like what if
after as soon as Caroline found out that at least she still wasn't positive that our house wasn't bombed, but she knew that the side of the house wasn't bombed and that I was alive. As soon as she knew that I was alive,
she's like, well, if your legs are working, then you better get down there.
You go first.
If you're fine, then you better go check this out. I already did the hard part. I already let them know there are people in the house. I yelled your name.
So Caleb and Ezra start yelling at each other about like growing up poor and growing up rich, and Ezra's like, just because your life was hard, his has to be. Yeah. And Caleb's like, basically yeah.
He's like, well, if Caleb's or if Hannah's life is hard, then yeah, other people's lives have to be hard too.
And
wait,
Ezra,
but I have to say,
Ezra,
okay, go ahead. No, you're gonna say what I'm about to say. I know it.
Ezra said, oh, I don't know. Ezra's like, will you be there for the fallout? Will you be there, or will you only be there for Hannah? I was just gonna say what Ezra said.
Well, I was just going to say right before that, he's like, Mike, go get the bags from the car, whatever. And he's talking to Caleb. And Caleb's like, why are you, whatever, doing this? I don't know what Caleb says, but Ezra goes, he's 16 and says it like in this growl. And I was like, so Zaria. Like, she's not right now, but she was, girl. She was. Like,
she's younger than that.
You can't be yelling shit like, it's 16. We should treat him like a kid, because if we're going by that school of thought, then you belong behind bars too, Z. And then you can't help.
God. And so Mike takes the car to leave, and Caleb and Ezra basically do that thing that cartoons do when they like try to run so fast but that their legs stay in the same place. That's what happens.
It looks like what Spencer did when she saw Kendra in the hall.
Yes.
Her feet flew out from underneath her. That's like what it is.
We go to the Hastings, like how Sid runs. I love when Sid tries to run so fast.
Like the road runner, and they're just in place for a while.
And he's just,
Drama does it too.
And Elvis used to do it too.
It's cute.
We go to the Hastings Castle, and
what the hell was this about?
I truly think they were just filling time. What the hell is this?
I hope this was improv or something, because that's the only way it's funny. Because otherwise, what the fuck?
It's like, is this improv? But
was Kendra just late? Like
they have
of tomato sauce, of thick.
Because
I'm like,
Spencer,
you need a spoon for that. You need a spoon for that.
And pasta.
Yeah.
Spencer says, Spencer's like, do you want any tomato? Is tomato juice okay?
Yes. Which also, like, no. When is tomato juice ever okay for a refreshing after school beverage? Never.
And also it's nighttime, and Emily goes, yeah, whatever is fine. And I'm like,
she is exasperated. She's like, I love tomato juice. You know that. She's acting like Spencer offered her like water. Like something everybody would like to have. Like, and then Spencer's like, well, you might care. You might care because this is actually, it could be sauce, as it's like coming out in full chunks. It's like, like she can't get it to pour out.
It's like, and then she gives it to her, and she's holding a ragu container and is like pouring it into
She's
cups.
Like, now is this juice or sauce? And that's how we know Spencer's never cooked. Yeah, Spencer's never had to cook for herself. And that's when she tells Emily that she saw Toby, and they danced around the fact that she's essentially dated 2 other people. And when Emily questioned, she's like, okay, 2 spontaneous kisses, but like it felt really good to be with someone who wanted to be with me. And she does have like a sad little moment, and it's a good acting moment from Troyan. And Emily goes, closed mouth or open. And Spencer says, drink your juice.
Spencer goes, drink your sauce.
Drink your sauce, yeah. And then Kendra knocks on the door. Kendra crossed the moat.
I wrote the same thing.
You did not say how did Kendra get past the moat. Okay, I don't know how we're going to make it 2 more seasons before we just are saying all the same thoughts. Thank God we have a new show to start next September.
I wrote, not only did she cross the moat, but she scaled the wall.
Where the drawbridge is down?
Because, guys, she comes
don't forget the
back.
wall Kenneth D brought up.
She comes around the back. She's at the back of the house.
Although
which I think
have
is weird.
no idea what like the actual orientation layout of this house is.
This leads out to the backyard where the barn is.
Well, I know that, but for some reason, I feel like you know how some people like use their side door, their front door, like it's
but
on
I
the side of the
don't
house,
know
but it's kind of their front door.
I don't know how Kendra would know that.
Well, if it's like
how at the mailman or the Domino's pizza delivery man at Meg's house only can find at the front door.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, okay.
So we go to the laundry.
Well, she says Ella called her. Kendra says Ella called her, and so that's why she's here. They need to talk.
We go to the laundry room, and
oh my God,
Hannah sneaks into the laundry room when like the post for the security guard changes. Allie spills the detergent on the floor.
Well,
and then the security guard
knocks it over.
And the security guard goes, all right, get a dustpan unless you're going to lick it up.
To someone else. To someone who didn't purposely knock it over.
Allie basically like stop, drops, and rolls out of the situation.
I would be like so pissed off at Allie if I was one of those inmates. I'd be like,
wait, what?
Wait, what? Yeah.
And then Hannah meets her over there and is like, forget about the paper, and tries to tell Allie about Kendra. And then they only have a couple minutes to leave. So Allie has the bright idea to take the hot iron.
This is why we said they shouldn't have an iron here. It's crazy. She thinks about this for less than 3 seconds, and she just boom puts that hot iron on her wrist.
Take it from me. Take it from me, who's a recent burn victim. That would hurt.
Take it from me, that would not feel good.
I still got a scar on my hand, and I barely even held that thing to my skin.
I thought it was extremely troubling when then she's like, Hannah, shut your hand in the dryer. which is like Hannah's like, no.
I don't want either of these options.
No.
Hannah's but I'm not going to shatter my finger bones. I'd rather have a burn.
Well, and also,
would I?
You're just passing notes. There has to be a better way. We don't have to do this. This is crazy. She's like, Hannah, shut your hand in the dryer. And Hannah's like, no. And Allie's like, I'll do it. And I'm like, this reminds me of someone I used to know. Hannah puts her arm there, and Allie I audibly made a noise when that happened.
Crazy. So they make it into...
She slams it, like crunches Hannah's bones.
Yeah, and Hannah's like fine after that. We go to the infirmary, and Hannah's like using her hand just fine. And
Rebecca's like, how did this happen? And Allie's like, it was an accident.
First time doing laundry?
Yeah.
And Rebecca turns her back, and while making as much noise as humanly possible to pass notes with,
Rebecca says what we're all thinking. I think, where do you two think you are? Which is such a funny way of saying you're in jail. You're not in homeroom. Like, where do you guys think that you are? You can't just be like passing, like, Hannah like flattens out her entire body so she can fit the note in her pocket. It's like you're planking. Like you're taking up the entire room. There's someone else in here. And so she goes, listen, defending someone who thinks she can beat the system is not something I agreed to. And I am like, you poor woman. Like that is so true. You got stuck with this bitch. So she forces Hannah to give her the note, and she opens it. She's like, she like has no words. She's like, fuck you guys. Like walks out. She's like this. And it's just like Allie like trying to, like Spencer's not here. It's Allie and Hannah trying to figure out like what those words mean. Tough. And literally Rebecca's like, I can't even begin to like talk about this. Like, you know what? You can have it back.
The only thing that could be worse is if it were Hannah and Arya.
Yeah,
or
yes.
Arya and Allie.
Because
doing
Arya
this
would be
note.
certain that she got it, and she would like not take no for an answer. That's the thing, is like the only person Arya really will defer to is like Spencer on matters like this. Where otherwise, if Arya was leading the pack, they would be so far in the wrong direction because she just wouldn't be able to hear that like maybe she didn't get it right. Anyway.
They would be in jail for the murder of Shauna Fring is what would happen.
True. So Rebecca has
They
an
wouldn't have even
urgent
gotten there, maybe.
message on her phone from
buddies.
from the other girls.
From
yeah.
Allie's buddies.
So Ezra and Caleb are like on this wild car chase to find Mike, and they pull up to an abandoned Honda, and the doors are open always, and they run up to it, and there is a fucking arrow through the windshield. Oh my God. I'm sorry, are we in
Like,
the Hunger
through it.
Games? Like,
How powerful are these fucking arrows? It's literally
that's
like
actually such a
4
good point.
inches-
Windshields are
4
crazy.
inches of the arrow are through, and it's not even like it's stuck in the windshield a little bit.
It's
It's
completely through.
And it happens later through a plank of wood.
They're everywhere. These things are everywhere. And it does look like a walking like tetanus shot. Like you need to like it's just bad. So that's what's
so
happening.
we go to the
there.
Hastings castle, and Rebecca is there to meet Kendra, and Emily and Spencer are. It's like
Now
they're
I've never
parents.
seen it before, but Emily needs crate time.
It's like Emily. They are in it, and honestly, you know what? By the end of the episode, the justice system is doing them a favor because they're quite literally getting crate time.
That you know what? Wait a minute. We just reframed this whole thing in our minds. I love it. And that's the end of the show. And that's why this was going to be the end of the show. Crate time was actually a storyline weaved throughout all these 5 seasons, but they took it out. So because they ended up extending.
Exactly. And Emily and Spencer have the energy of like parents in a meeting with their kid who's like trying to get into a program.
At the doctor, where it's like you're
Yes,
sitting there and they're like, what are your symptoms? And you're like, my throat hurts. And the mom's like, and she's been clammy. She's been clammy, right? And you said, tell the doctor what you said. It gets exactly that. Yes.
And Rebecca's like, okay.
But it's Emily and not Spencer, which is what's so unusual.
And then Rebecca stops Emily, and then Spencer's like, okay, well, like I can chime in because my mom's a lawyer. And Rebecca's like, guys, I got it. And then she asked Rebecca the exact same question that
she's like,
Emily
I'm
and
a
Spencer
lawyer,
asked her.
remember? Yeah. And then Spencer's like, okay, so am I. So am I, basically. My mom is. My mom is.
Genetic.
And, okay, Rebecca, what were you going to ask? And then she asked the exact question. Spencer's like, okay, so it seems like anyone can do this job. Seems like we can both do this job. Thanks. But apparently, so Kendra's like, it sounded like Allie was on the phone. I don't remember what she said. That's when Rebecca lets Kendra go, and Emily and Spencer lose their minds. They're like, you cannot let her go. Like, of course she's going on the stand, and like you have to prep her. And she's like, I'm not fucking putting her on the stand. Like, no one's gonna believe her. She also like was kind of fucked up in this story, and they're like, but Kendra heard Allie get in a car. She left, and they're like, well, sorry. I mean, Rebecca I feel like she doesn't want Allie to win anymore. I feel like she's like, it's very hard to root for you, Allie. And
Well, I think so, but I also think she's right. I do think that no one would believe
I do too, yeah.
that Kendra
right.
just like comes out of the woodworks and she was on drugs. But she does say, I don't need that because we're not that desperate. And Spencer is like, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
And then Rebecca, like, she thinks this is a checkmate. I'm not so sure it is, but she's like, we're putting Allie on the stand, actually.
Yeah, crazy. So we go back to the boys. They're now looking for Mike in the woods, and they're like, what is this some sort of like scout camp? Like, there are all these canoes and like arrows and shit all everywhere. And arrows just come whizzing through you better not hurt my Caleb.
Ezra does this weird fucking thing where, before they get to this clearing though, where all the canoes are, where he sees like this white stuff in the tree, and he thinks that it's like Mike's shirt.
It is.
But it's like there's barely anything there. It just like seemed pointless to me.
Well, but then later on, we see Mike, and his shirt has a big rip there, and you can see the blood. And I kind of wondered if he actually like put it there so that like,
oh, maybe.
I don't know. Like, I kind of got that vibe because they did show it to us. And then
I would get so overwhelmed having to like be in the woods in the dark and try to like run around.
I
and,
know.
Like, find my way out.
It's
and,
like
being chased.
my hell, actually. But Mike feels good. He feels like he like finally got away or whatever. So he starts like doing his confident walk, and then he gets fucking pepper sprayed and like knocked out.
Wait, we're not there yet.
Well, yeah, sorry, I just skipped to that part. The boys still looking for them.
They're like, they do this thing where they're ducking behind this wooden thing, and then they start throwing rocks just into the woods.
It's giving
hoping to hit someone.
The snowball fight in Elf. Caleb just watched Elf for the first time, and he's like, check this out. Boom, 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 with the rocks. Like, that is exactly what's happening here. And I think we should just go through this like woods part.
Before Mike gets pepper sprayed, he's like, he completely falls down this hill.
Oh,
and
I missed
then
that.
He climbs back up it, and he gets into this clearing. And this is the third jump scare of the day, because he gets pepper sprayed, and I gasped.
Yes.
I was like,
I know. I mean, it's getting what I realized, and I think this is what I was saying about how this feels like. I know it's not the finale, and it doesn't feel like the finale, because I understand how much bigger the show can and will get. So like, I do know that. But let's say I didn't. The reality is things have gotten a lot darker and a lot more like vicious and like dangerous. Like everything just kind of, I feel like, has been taken up a notch a little bit. And maybe that's like the difference in the A's, you know, that we're seeing. But that's why I'm like, it's just everything's like the way that we then see Mike, we jump to him the next time the boys find him. He's fucking tied to a pole, and he has like it's like the dodge, or what is that called? Like where it's like the ball attached to the string, attached to the pole.
Whatever it is.
And then he has that ball, but it's on like a metal like fishing line, basically. It's wrapped around his neck. His mouth is duct taped. His eyes are bright red because he's been pepper sprayed. And he's like, his hands are tied behind the pole. And I'm sorry, like, I know we don't know who did it, but smart Andrew, this is crazy. Like, this is like really scary, because the other, and I hate to like bring it into this, but like when Mona was doing all this stuff, it was a little bit like, okay, well, girl power. When you do this, smart Andrew, it's like what this stuff happens in real life when like a girl doesn't want to kiss a boy. Like boys do this shit. But he's like, Aria didn't call me back. We realized he doesn't know anything about Mona. It's just because Aria didn't call him back that he's doing this to Mike. Like I could see it, is what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Men are insane.
Oh my gosh. So we go to the Hastings Castle, and Toby walks in, and he throws his badge on the counter.
The
and he
drama.
Goes, I did a lot of work to get that. And nobody around the police department even appreciates me.
And I really wanted
orders memorized.
I really wanted to get on this one special case, but then they didn't even really let me. And Spencer's like, why are you talking like drama?
And that's Chuck's voice.
Well, Chuck's actually kind of a little bit slower and a little bit not super deep. Not super deep.
And he doesn't have that. But kind of really have that R thing.
I kind of have more of a man. Well, I do, but it's just kind of a little bit more mature, I think.
It's not like a Boston accent. Dramas is like a Boston.
Well, Dramas is kind of like you, and it's like, what are we doing today, Chuck? Actually, I was thinking this morning. I actually found a whapper on the floor. Mom, I found a whapper. I looked at Queen. You want it back? Great. Anyway, that was drama. He took the mic. Okay, so yeah, Toby shows up. He's upset. He's like, I was tired of not being able to protect you, but now, like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be choosing between this and you.
He goes, I worked my butt off in the police academy. I even got a buzz cut. And I'm like, thank God. And he was like,
him trying to get a laugh, and it's like, you'll have to try harder. You'll have to do better.
And basically, he's gonna give Lieutenant Butterscotch an ultimatum and be like, look, it's I get to date Spencer, or I'm walking,
or I'm outie. And she's like, well, who's gonna get the coffee then? Okay, I guess date her. Like, she's like, wait, you're a cop. Oh, then you're fine. We don't need you. You haven't really been helping out much. And then they have like a steamy.
We find out Lieutenant Butterscotch actually hasn't said anything about him being allowed to date Spencer, or like really needed him to do much at all about Spencer. Like,
yeah,
he's just in his head. He's like, he's created this conflict completely in his head.
Precisely. And yeah, then they have a steamy, long-awaited makeout.
The Montgomery Mausoleum, Aria's calling Ezra, and he won't answer. And then she calls Andrew, and she goes, I thought you'd be home. I thought you'd be home, Andrew.
She's so annoyed. She's like, you told me that I could ask you for a favor 24/7. So I would really like you to take a drive up to the cabin where Mike is staying, because I just know something's wrong and I need your help. Yeah, in Allegheny. Can you go to Lebo?
Can you take a 7-hour drive
like
to Allegheny County?
I did think it was crazy. She's like, okay. She didn't even ask. She was like, if you really meant that you'd do a favor, then I'd really like you to do this. Like, that's how she said it.
She doesn't ask for confirmation that he does it either.
Well, don't worry, because he doesn't. Probably because he doesn't.
When we hear Andrew's excuse. I'm like, I saw the yearbook page.
Not
it was one
good
page.
enough. Not good enough. Yeah. So that's when, of course, we go back to the woods and Ezra and Caleb find Mike in the state that I described him in. And this is, yes, guys, it is a big moment. The very first time in Pretty Little Liars we have ever decided to get proof of what's happening. Caleb takes a photo and Ezra like basically poses behind him. Hey, Ezra, get out of the picture, I think. You don't need to be in this picture, right? Like, Ezra's like, gives him like bunny ears behind his head. Like, he's fully behind him.
What did they do with the cow tongue?
Girl,
is that just like in Aria's room?
It's in Mike's room.
Fridge?
It's in Mike's room.
Fridge?
Aria put it on her Byron's pillow. She's like, fuck you, Dad. This is for Meredith. Fuck you, Dad. So Rebecca is now in the courtroom and she's showing the jury pictures of Mona's injuries. And she's like, this girl was thrown against the wall. She was like thrown like a rag doll. And it would have had to be the assailant's right arm that did all of this. So Allie, can you throw me this grapefruit? So she has Allie throw her grapefruit from like 3 different angles. And there's one angle.
This is where we get proof that Allie was totally this girl who did get out of PE.
I was just like, oh my God.
This is so in line with who Allie is because she throws it from one angle and it's fine, basically. You can tell her elbow looks a little weird. She does it from another slightly different angle. Her elbow looks a little weirder. But the third angle,
she has to like move her entire body
and like fully moves to the side to throw it. And Rebecca goes, and was that last throw a little hard for you? And Allie goes,
Allie's no. Allie jumps over no. Starts beating the shit out of her.
And give it.
No,
give it back to me. I'll show you how far I can throw it. Fuck off.
You want to see how far I'll throw it? I'll burst all your freaking heads open. I hope you don't get eaten by worms. She's like, sorry, a little outburst.
And then the jury says she's guilty, and she's like, what?
She's like, excuse me. She joined the jail a cappella group, so she's really in the mood to sing all the time. They watched Pitch Perfect. Anyway, so
she watched Assassins.
Yeah. That's why she's talking about Squeaky. They only have so many films in the library, but they do have Assassins and Pitch Perfect 1 and 2.
Bootleg. It's a bootleg film on like an
it's the same one you can watch on
camera.
YouTube that like has the name like really fun recipe for tortellini. It's underneath that name because people are afraid it's going to get taken down. That's the one. Did you know that's what people do? They have the most insane fucking names you've ever heard of.
So
for like,
funny.
They're like, I'm like, where can I find the ones on this island bootleg? And it's like, oh right, it's named like best baby names for a boy. Like it's named like something insane. So funny.
Theater people are funny.
They are.
To other theater people.
Not me.
What?
You said the other theater people.
No, 2 other theater people.
Oh, I thought you said theater people are funny. The other theater people. I was like, okay, bitch.
Theater people are funny to theater people.
Don't forget, you're a theater person too.
I know.
But the boys took the like photo. Well, they come to tell Detective Tanner everything. She's asking them if they can identify the perpetrator. They're like, no, I didn't see them. And they're like, you can't even tell me if it was more than one individual. They're like, no. Like, is this the same information you gave the sheriff in Clockett, Allegheny County? They're like, no. And they're like, well, you have to file it with the right county. And I am like, oh my God. Like
the way Lieutenant, no, but she's being more condescending than you're being
no, I know.
Nice Lieutenant Butterscotch
and
because
I frequently
you're on her side right now.
No, I'm not on her side right now. No, I'm not. I'm not on the same side as you.
She's like, so you can't tell me if this was a man or a woman? Like,
I know.
She's looking at 3 people who are visibly like
she's
sweaty,
looking at
covered
2
in dirt
people
and covered in blood. Mike's in the corner.
Oh, I didn't see him.
Like she's looking, like clearly something happened, and they're like, no, we didn't tell anybody in Allegheny County because they weren't there, but also because they had to. They were like, we're gonna come all the way back here, and Caleb is like, we figured it was connected because someone is after us.
Yeah, LB, she does not actually want to solve this case. She just wants to get it off her table. That's what I'm seeing. And she's like, okay, and just to be clear, instead of stopping to help untie your friend, you took a picture first. Odd reaction, no?
Before the picture, she says the thing about having to file it in the other county, and this is where Caleb throws his hands up and he goes, unfrickin' believable. This town has it so ass backwards. I cannot believe someone is after us. Can't you see it?
He flips. He literally, that was good. He literally flips.
Thank you.
And you know that Tyler Blackburn's like, can't I just say fuck? It's not going to hit the same if I can't say unfucking believable. It is not going to hit the same.
How many times do you think they had to do it though to get him to say frickin'?
Yeah, they're like, again, Tyler's like, sorry, just keep slipping out. One of these days, they're just not going to hear the difference anymore. Anyway.
and he shows the phone to Lieutenant Butterscotch, and that's when she's like, oh. So
yes.
you posed with your... I see Ezra in the back giving Mike Montgomery, who's tied to a pole and duct taped
bunny
with his mouth
ears.
duct tape shoved, giving him bunny ears. Okay.
She's like,
Someone's
this is a lot
after
like
you,
when
though.
people go shoot big game and they take pictures and post on their Instagram. That's what this feels like.
Yeah. Are you going to put this on your Hinge profile too?
Yeah, huh? So now Allie's being cross-examined, and the prosecution asks her if she ever took archery, and they're like, well, I think you're really good at it. And the look on Allie's face, she just knows she's fucked, and she's like, I don't remember, I don't recall. And all the girls' phones start ringing as the lawyer pulls out an award that Allie won first place in some fucking camp archery competition. And Allie's just like, God, like, fuck me, is her face. And the text that A sent the girls says, bullseye, bitches. So we're like really not clear whether or not
I was like,
she actually did.
At first I was like, did A fabricate the award? Like, is it a fake award? And then later we realized that that's not true. The truth is actually even funnier and so perfect for Allie's story. And so we go to the police department, and Toby shows up and is like, he's been in the car like listening to like Bruce Springsteen, and he's been pumping himself up to walk in there.
Tramps like us.
He's literally like, okay. Whew. All right. He's like, he does like a heel click as he walks up there.
Baby, we were born to run.
And he walks in there, and Lieutenant Butterscotch is like, okay. No, I don't really, we're good. There's nothing you can do to help your friends anymore, buddy.
Yeah,
we've got them. It's a little too late to help your friends, and they should have thought about who they were helping this whole time.
Sorry, there's nothing you can do now.
And they're like moving a bunch of evidence around and like all this stuff.
I guess that's where I should have.
Clear at this point where it's
I didn't put it together, so it's not that clear.
And then It's Time by Imagine Dragons starts to play as Lieutenant Butterscotch marches into the courtroom.
So that isn't what plays, but it might as well be, because we do get a little montage in a moment with they're loving this right now. It's their new favorite device. So Allie's sitting outside the courtroom, and Rebecca approaches, and she's like, I'm not going to lie, kind of shocked about the award. And Allie's like immediately like, how dare you, offended. But she's like, okay, well, I didn't even win it. Me and my roommate rigged it. So we went and placed them before the competition ever started, and I can't tell the truth now. So it's just like fucking, it's like literally the lies you tell. You better tell the truth, y'all. You don't know.
Lies will bury you. Lies
you
will
do
bury
not
you.
know when that's going to come back to get you.
But sorry, the look on Allie's face is so funny when she's like, I didn't even win it.
Yeah,
but we find out that in the hour lunch break that they all had after Rebecca did the whole thing about her arm being not healed.
Was Allie allowed to leave? Is that what you're about to say?
Well, Allie's just like kind of sitting there.
No, I know.
No, what I'm saying is that I think A got the award to the prosecution. Oh, that's how, because Rebecca's like, I don't know how they found that award in the hour that they had on lunch break, and they came back with the award.
Oh.
Which I'm like, okay, they're outside because the jury's deliberating, and I am a little bit like, there's not a police officer next to Allie.
I thought the same thing. Well, then they say, she's like, oh, Jason and my dad went to go get food. I didn't want to go. And I'm like, were you allowed to go? That was like my question. So
for murder.
Ezra then is updating Arya. He's like, Mike's shaken. He's okay. And Smart Andrew sees Arya. So he's going to go like wait with her on the steps.
She says, you never answer my calls. And he's like, sorry, I spent the whole night working on my yearbook thing, but my phone died, so I must not have answered. So he sits down, and Arya pulls the thing out, and they're like reading it. They're going over it. And he goes, man, she was like, I knew you were nice, but an award-winning Pathfinder scout?
And sorry, I forgot to say it, but that is what Caleb says when they're when he's like, is this like a campground? Is this like a Pathfinder? Like he says that. So, we're drawing those, and he says 12 years. You never know when those skills are going to come in handy. And I just want to say, not so smart, Andrew, huh? Not so smart, Andrew.
I know, you would think, like, hey, Mike, Ezra, and Caleb were all being shot at by you.
Literally.
They might bring up the fact that they were there and that archery was involved.
I mean, yeah, it was an unusual detail.
Thank God that he picked Arya to be in love with, because Spencer would be making his connection already.
Exactly.
Arya's not going to make the connection between the archery that Caleb and all them did, the text, Allie's whole thing, and what Andrew did.
It's because Arya's too busy just thinking me. That's when we get our little montage of Hannah being sat in jail, and then we add in the jury, or everyone's waiting on jury deliberations, and we get our verdict. Crazy fucking pants.
What did you think?
I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess I didn't really know. I guess in my mind, I thought, you know what? Honestly, I don't think I knew. I kind of think I thought they were going to do not guilty, maybe. But she's
for
guilty.
Some reason.
I don't know. And Lieutenant Butterscotch is there, and she's really pleased with herself. And for a second, I'm like, why is that? And then I realize, oh, it's because all the other fucking girls are getting arrested too. So they're added to the montage, which does.
She may as well have handcuffs in her hand, and she's
like
swinging him back and forth.
Arya looks at her like, hey guys, what is LB's deal? She is looking at us like she's happy about something. I know she wanted Allie in jail, but why is she looking at me? Oh my God, what is that cold feeling on my wrist? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Ouch, you clipped my skin. And then we get our A scene.
And it's playing with dolls. All the dolls are in a little bus that says Department of Corrections, and it's being taken to a castle where there's another doll already waiting for them, probably Allie. And then A starts to touch a corsage and put it on a suit.
Yeah,
dude, I can't believe we're already at the Dollhouse episodes.
I'm really excited. I'm definitely eager to see how they get to the dollhouse, considering they are locked the hell up. Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be crazy. Why don't you read our synopsis for next week? Our season 5 finale.
Season 5, episode 25. Welcome to the Dollhouse. Shocking secrets come to light for Arya, Emily, Hannah, and Spencer as the biggest clue to the A mystery is revealed. The air date was March 24th, 2015.
Wow. Crazy. I guess I'll watch it after I do my ghost tours this weekend so that I have kind of a primer on my fear levels. By that point, nothing will scare me at all. And I'm going to do every haunted house in Pittsburgh next week. So I'll report back because I'm going to be ready. I got to ride this high, who knows?
I'm going to Google scariest haunted house you can do in
America. In America, and I'm going to use the Rosewood, PA time traveling portal to get there. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Couple things. Tomorrow, we will have a new Patreon episode for all honorary Connell sisters.
Hello, everyone. That is actually not true. The Patreon episode is actually going to be a little Halloween treat. We're going to release it next Thursday, which is also the day of the giveaway ending and the day of the season 5 finale. So big day. We're going to put on our Instagram stories a couple polls about a couple different Halloween things we were thinking we could watch for the Patreon. So you guys will get to decide, and that will end up coming out sometime next Thursday.
If you haven't already, listened to our episode from Tuesday and listened to Phoebe's insane experience at the DMV and how mortifying it is to read a paper book, which our mother majorly took issue with. I will just tell you all now, majorly. Next week on our season 5 finale day is the closing of our giveaway. That will be the last time you can enter it. So if you haven't already, and lots of you have, very excited, but if you haven't already, you have another week. So go follow us on Instagram at The Pretty Little Podcast. The O in podcast is a 0. And follow us on TikTok at The Pretty Little Podcast. It's all letters. And if you love us, please, please, please leave us a 5-star review and a rating. It helps us so, 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 so much. We love you guys. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week. And
splat.